Everybody stop what you are doing because we have the brand new #1 ball in golf. That's right guys, today we are testing the brand new 2025 Titleist Pro-V1. We of course have a new Pro-V1 and Pro-V1X offering from Titleist, and they claim for greater speed and more control. Of course they do. So today we're going to test them out here at the gorgeous Reunion Golf Course in Florida. First impressions, packaging, obviously packaging, shelf appeal, it's all important for Titleist to reclaim that #1 ball in golf sport, and it's still adorned on the box there. I think here, the huge claims that we're going to get more speed and more control, and to be honest, I quite fancy being the judge of that. So we're going to play a few holes with it, we're going to talk about numbers, we're going to talk about how potentially it could help your game, and for £50 a dozen, we need to address that as well, don't we? Because Titleist could be in a sticky spot with this. I've used the title so many times on my channel that a new golf ball could well be the death of the Pro-V1 because D2Cs are coming for the big brands. Now, would you use a Pro-V1 for this price, or would you use a Seed SDX1? Would you use a Kirkland golf ball? Would you use anything like that? First hole, into a bit of wind. Let's see what we can do with this brand new Titleist Pro-V1. Right, that is exceptionally good. And I'm not saying that because of the golf ball, I'm saying it because I was very, very nervous over that shot because of the price. I don't like wasting money. I don't like losing golf balls that cost nearly £4 a ball. It's more than £4 a ball. I'd have it hybrid if I'd have known. So what do Titleist say about these new golf balls? Because the box is often the place that you guys look at in the pro shop to see what kind of ball you want. And it has a kind of nice little graphic on here. You can see it's still a 3-piece urethane golf ball. It still has spherically tiled 388 tetrahedral dimple design. Can you believe I've got that right? I think I've got that right. Its new, faster, high gradient core provides more speed and more iron and wedge control, so we're going to test that today. And we also got a little package from Titleist with these balls in, saying, right, this is how we want you to test them. We want you to do some putting, we want you to do some chipping, then hit iron shots, and then eventually move up to driver. Because when Titleist fit for golf balls, you might think that it's all, how far can I hit my driver, like I've just done there. But actually it's not. Titleist are more bothered about how it feels with the putter. Can you get the right control with your wedges with it? Can you get the right flight window with it? Then eventually if it works with the driver, then fantastic. There also is a left dash Pro-V1, so there is going to be a ball for you. Obviously there's AVX as well, which is the alternative to V and X, which I never knew what that stood for, but that was my biggest ever video with a golf ball, by the way, the AVX. We also have a little bit of a kind of comparison with the Pro-V1X. So you can see the Pro-V1's a mid-flighted ball, whereas the X is a high. Both of these are low long game spin, which a lot of the players are going to want. Short game spin, the Pro-V1X is a little bit higher in that, and feel wise, the Pro-V1's that little bit softer. So nothing really is changing in that regard. Is there much to account for here with the Pro-V1? Because a lot of people will be saying they've just changed the side stamp. And I remember when I was working in the pro shop, you were always really excited to see what the new Pro-V1 side stamp was like. And I don't think that really changes because a lot of people, again, this is a big marketing term, but trust their Titleist. And I think the fact that they've coined that and it worked so well is a fantastic marketing truth, I suppose you could say. Because a lot of golfers want to be able to trust the golf ball, and that's why so many golfers keep using the same golf ball time after time. That's why so many golfers won't buy a Costco Kirkland ball, won't use a Seed ball, won't use a Vice golf ball, but we have. We're going to have a look at what the side stamp looks like, Bob. Don't you worry. 130 yards in. That's about a pitching wedge for me. Can we get the right amount of control, although it's into the wind? So I'm going to go 9. It is a mid-flighted ball, so we can control it a little bit. Last thing you want to do is go short here. I don't want to lose a £4 golf ball. So it does put a bit more pressure on, I think, playing with expensive balls. Thought we had a mud ball there, but we're all right. Again, felt really good. It's going to be about the right distance, I think. Oh, it's just come up short and it's spun all the way down that slope. It was a good strike. It felt good. We're going to test it for short game now and see just what it's like. Interestingly, Ricky Fowler is back in a Titleist golf ball as well. I think that is such a huge slap round the face for TaylorMade. TaylorMade invested so much into him with time and money, with the Pix golf ball with all the orangery on it, and he's back in the Pro-V1 because his contract's run out. That's a shocker, isn't it? So I'd say we've got unlucky there, but I really don't think we have. I just think I've not accounted for the wind enough. I do feel like potentially I could have flighted it down a little bit more. So let's have a couple of chips here with these balls. I have been on the chipping green here at Reunion already and tested a few, just like Titleist. Look at this, how hard it is to keep that there. As Titleist wanted us to do. It feels soft, it grabs like you want it to. I don't feel like I'm potentially seeing a huge gain from another premium ball. But then if you're going to go into a shop and buy Pro-V1s anyway, I think this is where Titleist have kind of got the market. You're just going to go, oh, they've got the new one. I'll have the new one for 50 quid. We'll show you the side stamp as we move on, but I want to see just how really we can get maybe a little of... That's when you don't want to be spending 50 quid a dozen, isn't it? And just blade it like that, because you might as well be using any golf ball, but that's more like it. That spun a lot, hasn't it? That felt really, really soft and came out just how you would want to, and that one as well really, really grabbed. So out here in Florida, you do tend to get a little bit more spin. It can catch you out. I've not hit 3 good shots there, but I do feel like we're getting a little bit of grab, so I feel like I'm okay with that. The first shot, we all hit them. I keep them in. A lot of people don't keep them in, but that's on them. Let's have a go at some putting, and then there's a gorgeous par 3 coming up where we can really test the mid-irons and see how these balls fly. Now I think that the side stamp, I feel like I've seen it before. I'm sure that's from like a couple of generations ago maybe. It doesn't feel that new, it doesn't feel, I mean, to be honest, there's only so much you can do with a side stamp. And if it was me, I'd probably order the ones with the green side stamps on, you know, with the 2 lines. That's where Titleist, I don't think, have really moved on with innovation. They haven't tried to match, such as TaylorMade's technology with the lines and obviously Callaway's with the triple track. But then they might say they don't need to. They might say they're more for that serious golfer that doesn't use that. But I'd argue that serious golfers want feedback too. Serious golfers want to improve, and serious golfers want to be able... That felt absolutely gorgeous. I'm not saying I'm holding that putt because of the ball. I'm obviously not. We'll probably miss these two, but it does ask the question that there's urethane and there's urethane, isn't there? There's a lot of different potential variants of that rubber or that plastic, and realistically, Titleist often get the best ones. I'm pleased with that, very pleased. So on the small box that you get when you do go to the pro shop, we obviously have like a blurb at the back that you would get on a book. And we have the benefits that Titleist claim you get with a Pro-V1. So the Pro-V1 player benefits are allegedly extraordinary distance, increased drop and stop control, which Titleist have had on these boxes for years and years, a very low long game spin, penetrating trajectory, consistent feel, and a very soft feel. It was a consistent flight, but there you go. And they're not reinventing the wheel with that. They're not reinventing the ball, but I do think that they have the market where they wanted it. I don't feel like they really have the market where they do want it, because so many of these brands are bringing out 3-piece urethane balls. So many of these brands are essentially bringing out a competitor that's a lot cheaper, and a lot of people don't have that disposable income anymore that they used to have. And that is huge. That's a massive factor in how people buy golf balls. And if I'm going to compare this to a Seed SDX1 to a Costco Kirkland golf ball, you will see that the differences might be marginal. One of the big differences you might see is consistency a touch, but then how consistent is the everyday golfer, and how consistent do you need your golf ball to be? Because how many times do you hit the middle of the face? Every time.
All the time. I'm ready.
Never.
Where's the new Pro-V1?
It's here. Do you want to see it?
Let me see the magic. Do you want me to see how it flies on this?
No.
Beautiful par 3.
No, because it's nearly £4 worth. Thank you very much. That man does not buy Pro-V1s. He will use them for free, but he won't spend. You're not spending 50 quid a dozen on balls, are you? Okay, so we've tested these new Pro-V1s almost throughout the bag now. Let's test it with a mid to long iron and this 5 iron. We have 185 yards on this par 3. And again, I'm just looking for consistency. I'm going to try and hit a normal flighted one, then maybe a slightly lower one, see if we get the distance and see if we can get the flight. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Titleist aren't going to all of a sudden start making golf balls that don't do that. So That was a little bit skinny. It's a nice flighted one. If it carries, it should be about right. That's just on that front edge. So I'll be interested to see just how much kind of forgiveness we can maybe get from this golf ball. The 3-piece urethane should give us plenty of ball speed if we strike it properly. And of course, if we compress it just that little bit. I've hit that one miles better. That is such a better ball flight. Just moving to the left ever so slightly, and that's a much better compressed shot. Now let's try a lower one and see if we can. Oh, Bob, look at that. They were very good, weren't they? Absolutely fantastic. One last thing to test with these golf balls is a little bit of durability, and I know just the place. So durability, we're going to try and hit a couple of really nice hard bunker shots, see what we get for a little bit of spin. This is a pretty new Vokey, so a nice family to have. And then we're going to look at the urethane and see potentially how they might last, because a lot of people won't want to spend this money and a golf ball will be ruined after one bunker shot. And you see, the really interesting thing here is we have tested these golf balls in the studio. I managed to get hold of them a few weeks ago before we came out here to Orlando, and they were fine. Like, it's not worth me kind of showing you them. I'll show you a couple on screen, but differences wise, how consistent am I? How consistent are you? If I hit a good one, it went 275, 280 yards carry. If I hit a bad one, real bad one, it didn't go very far at all. But you're not going to see a huge difference with this. You're not going to start to see a 5, 10, 20 yard gain, but they are just replacing the old one. So it almost feels like that's a natural progression, a natural thing to do. But then they have to have some marketing behind it for people to maybe choose this now over a TP5 or a Chrome Soft, don't they? So distance-wise, is it better than the last one? Maybe that's what they claim. The last one was pretty good as well, wasn't it? And the one before that wasn't that bad. The Pro-V1's always going to be there or thereabouts, isn't it? For so many golfers who can afford them or want to afford them. That's the biggie. So 3 bunker shots. There's the residue on that. That's not bad at all. A little bit of some grooves there. I like more from the 5-iron off the tee, to be honest. I don't think that's marked up too bad. And this is where Titleist could really kind of take a march on some of the other cheaper balls. No real kind of marks on there, and they were full bunker shots with wedge faces. But Bobby, look what else we have in the buggy. We have a Seed STX1, so a competitor to these golf balls. Let's finish off with just a drive with each. So it's not the most scientific test, but if you're spending these money on golf balls, how consistent are you? That's my argument all along. Anyone could stand in a studio, hit 150 drives, and then take an average and see a 2 or 3 yard difference. But you've got to hit the middle of the driver both times with this for it to work. So let's do it. Seed first. Let's try and get a similar drive to what we opened up with. I've hit that really well. Lovely high ball flight. That's going to be spinning around 2,500. It's landed nicely in the middle of that fairway. So all of a sudden now the Titleist has something to beat. This isn't a foregone conclusion. So I have to stand up, I have to hit a good shot. A lot of people will say, and there was a comment on a video the other day that said, oh, well, if Seed golf balls or Kirkland golf balls were that good, all tour pros would use them. Now, I think if Seed or Costco paid tour pros like Titleist pay them, they probably would. So we'll have that one up there. So let's try and hit the same shot with the Pro-V1. Tiny bit toey, just left of it, and that is neck and neck. I can't wait to get down there and show you where they are, because I'm not too sure myself. But it's a big monetary difference, isn't it? So I'm quite pleased with how we've tested these balls. We've tested them inside, we've tested them outside, we've tested them for short game. And as you can see, I didn't expect there to be this much of a difference. Now, this is kind of real world testing at its best, because as you can see, the Seed has quite a lot of mud on that golf ball, so it's not travelled as far on the ground and it actually pitched in this slope here. The Pro-V1 is up there, ever so slightly to the left. It was a little bit towier, will have been lower spin. I imagine that'll be in a sub 2000 spin golf ball, but it is further out there. So take that with a pinch of salt, take it as you will. Guys, that's the brand new 2025 Titleist Pro-V1. If you've enjoyed it, smash that subscribe button below. If you want to see a comparison between the new Pro-V1, the TP5, the Chrome Tour, even the Pro-V1X, then let me know in the comments. And apart from that, I'll see you all exactly the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.